Shut up, please, don't talk like that. What do you have in your pockets over there? Is it a gun?
No.
Is that a gun?
It's not a gun.
Go back.
It's a radio. You know that, you stupid piece of shit.
Yeah, get back.
He's trying to shoot me now.
Okay, and then we can work out.
Can you take his firearm off of him?
No, there is no reason.
He's unstable.
No, sir, you're the one right
What's his name?
You're the one that approached him.
What's his name? What's your name?
I'm asking you to stand over here. That is
I need his name before.
Okay.
I need
you
his
will
name
more than
before I
likely
leave.
get his name, okay? Just stand right here by your
Are you trying to Jeff Winehouse? Sorry, I'll get out of your way. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, no problem.
All right, you have a good day. Don't come back.
What's your name?
You're trespassed.
Well, I understand how private property works.
Have a good day.
What's your name?
Have a good day.
Have a good day is his name.
You claim that he said he tried to shoot you. That's what you're
By claiming that I had a gun and reaching for his firearm while approaching me.
You're inferring the situation.
If I had a gun, why would he be approaching me?
So you're inferring.
Johnny 5-0 needs to go home.
Johnny 5-0 needs to go home?
Yep.
You guys, Johnny is right.
Hey,
What's up, Tanner?
Just real quick, man. Management's going to come out and they're going to have you leave, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah. So she'll be out in a second.
She doesn't even need to come out. I'll leave.
Okay. Well, if you want to
I get it. I get what private property is.
Okay, yeah. And so
I understand.
She's on her way.
She doesn't even need to come. I'll leave.
Okay. Is it just you or is there more?
Just me.
Okay.
And I'm actually shopping here, but I'm assuming she doesn't want me shopping here next.
This is a serious issue, and it's one that has been addressed in numerous court cases. For example, in Gleek versus Kunafe, the First Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that recording police officers in public is a clearly established right under the First Amendment.
I need his name, though. I'll go out to public property to get it.
It's on his name bar.
I can't see it. I'll go out to public property and you can let me know what it is. Does that sound good?
I'll tell you right now, it's no way.
How do you spell that?
N-O-E.
And you want me out?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'll get out of here.
So I'm going to trespass you,
Understood.
which means you're not allowed in my parking lot.
I get it. No problem.
All right.
What's your last name, James?
Do I need to give it, or can I just leave the property? I legally, lawfully have to give it. Well, I'm not unwilling to leave, so why do I need to give it?
So
How about I just walk away right now?
Hear me out, though. Okay. I'm hearing you out, right?
Right, but let's go talk out there since she told me to leave. Is that okay? Can I go? Can I go out there? I don't want to be arrested. I don't want to. Can I leave? Can I leave?
Just hold on, man. You're such a rush right now. Okay.
Because you guys want to keep pressing stuff. She wants me to leave. I'm going to leave. It's her private property. I understand
the process. Can I explain the process?
Yeah. If I refuse to leave, then you have to do a formal written. But if she simply asked me to leave, the only reason you have to do a formal written thing is if I refuse to leave, which I am not.
You're not hearing my side out, though. What I have to do. What I have to do, though, on my side, okay? I have to document that you.
Why are you doing that?
Hey, over here, man.
Why are you doing that?
I'm right here.
Standing here? Because I can stand here.
And you guys are accusing me of...
He's standing still, camera steady, 25 feet away from a routine traffic stop, saying nothing. Doing nothing except what thousands of Americans do every day, watching, recording, witnessing. And then, without warning, an officer looks up and decides that silence is a threat. The words come fast, accusatory, dangerous. Not a question about intent, not a request to step back. A direct claim that the man standing quietly on public ground is armed, that the object in his pocket is a weapon, that this moment, calm seconds ago, is now a matter of life and death. Except it isn't. The object is a radio, the man is a journalist, and in less than 10 seconds what was once a passive observation becomes an armed standoff built entirely on fabrication. This is the pivot, the point where control leaves reason and enters invention. And it happens so fast that the man with the camera barely has time to respond before the word gun echoes into a radio call for backup. Watch how the body language changes. The officer doesn't crouch defensively or draw a weapon. He moves forward, closing distance, not retreating. His hand brushes his sidearm, not gripping but signaling. The posture says one thing clearly: I'm in charge now. But the accusation doesn't hold weight, it holds consequence. The man steps back, slowly, visibly, hands coming up even as his camera stays on. He knows what happens next if this moment spirals. He's seen the footage before, other cities, other names, where misidentification becomes tragedy. He turns his body slightly, showing there's nothing concealed. He keeps his voice steady even as he calls the accusation what it is. And still, backup is coming. The call has already been made, and once those words hit the channel, gun, threat, shoot, the interpretation shifts. Everyone arriving now enters with a story already written. The question isn't whether force is justified, it's whether they can contain it. Now, the sidewalk fills. Officers approach from angles. There's no immediate violence, but there's structure, a formation designed to compress space. The man's options narrow with every new uniform. He can't move forward. He can't move to either side. He can only stand still and hope that stillness is enough. One officer takes over communication. The tone is calmer, but the frame hasn't changed. The premise of danger is still alive, still in the air. No one questions the original claim. No one asks for evidence. The man is told to stay where he is. Not because of what he did, but because of what was said about him. There's a young woman nearby, phone in hand, filming. She's doing the exact same thing the man is accused of doing. But no one approaches her. No one demands to know what's in her pockets. She's not asked to move, not surrounded, not told she's making anyone feel unsafe. The difference isn't action, it's perception. And that perception has already been locked in. No matter what the man says now, no matter how clearly he explains his job, his equipment, his reason for standing there, the accusation has already become the narrative. The truth will have to catch up later. Right now, the moment belongs to whoever made the first claim. What you're watching is not investigation, it's theater. A performance of control built on a lie that no one is willing to retract. The man asks for a name. He asks for a badge number. He asks what law he's broken. The responses aren't answers, they're deflections. Stand here, don't move, wait. This is how escalation works when power doesn't need evidence. The burden of proof flips. The person being accused must now demonstrate innocence. Not in a courtroom, but on concrete, surrounded by armed men who've already been told he's a threat. And he's still holding a camera. That camera is the only thing keeping him visible. Not to the officers, but to the world that might later watch. He knows it. They know it. And that knowledge is the only thing keeping the situation from tipping further. But knowledge doesn't guarantee safety. The accusation has already done its work. Fear has been manufactured. And now, whatever comes next will be filtered through that lens, not what happened, but what was claimed. The man remains still. His hands stay visible. His voice stays measured. But inside the frame, everything has already shifted. He walked into a public space as a citizen. Now he's standing in a cage of suspicion, built in seconds, held together by nothing but a lie spoken into a radio. And no one has apologized. No one has corrected the record. No one has said the words that would undo the damage. There is no gun. Instead, the backup keeps arriving. In Part 2, we watch what happens when a false premise spreads, and how power compounds when no one is willing to stop and question the foundation it's standing on. Continue to Part 2. The sidewalk is now crowded, not with civilians, but with uniforms. 4 officers, then 5. Each one arriving with the same inherited assumption. Something dangerous is happening here. But nothing dangerous is happening. A man is standing with a camera. His hands are visible. His posture is non-threatening. He hasn't raised his voice, hasn't moved aggressively, hasn't done anything except exist in a place where someone decided he didn't belong. And yet, the formation continues to tighten. Watch their positioning. No one stands casually. Bodies are angled inward. Hands rest near belts. There's a rhythm to their movement. Calculated, synchronized, as if rehearsed for a different kind of encounter. One where force might be necessary. One where the subject might run, or fight, or resist. But this subject isn't resisting. He's asking questions. And that, apparently, is the problem. One officer steps forward and tries to manage the conversation. The tone is softer, but the structure remains the same. Stay here, don't move, let me explain. But the explanation never comes. Instead, it loops, redirects, deflects, returns to the same holding pattern. The man asks again, "What did I do wrong?" Silence, or worse, vague affirmations that something is being handled, that things will be sorted out, that he just needs to wait. But wait for what? No one says. No one can say. Because there's nothing to resolve. The original accusation was false, and now the system is running on momentum alone. This is what institutional inertia looks like. Once the call goes out, once backup is summoned, once bodies arrive, the machine doesn't stop to ask whether the emergency was real. It assumes it was. It protects the decision. It creates justification after the fact. Watch how the officers interact with each other. Brief glances, small nods, a shared understanding that they're in this together, regardless of the facts. The man with the camera becomes a problem to manage, not a citizen to protect. His rights are secondary to their coordination. And the young woman with her phone? Still filming, still unbothered, still invisible to the enforcement unfolding beside her. This asymmetry is the quiet center of the encounter. Two people doing the same thing, treated entirely differently. One is acknowledged with a nod. The other is surrounded. One is trusted by default. The other is presumed dangerous until proven otherwise. No statute explains that difference. No training manual writes it out. But everyone on that sidewalk understands it, including the man being held in place. He tries to stay composed. His words are deliberate. He repeats his purpose. He's a journalist, documenting police activity, standing on public ground. These are facts, verifiable, legal, protected. But facts don't carry the same weight as suspicion. And suspicion, once planted, doesn't require proof. It requires only repetition. So the officers repeat, "Stay here, don't move, we're handling it." Handling what? The question never gets answered because answering it would mean admitting the premise was false, and no one in uniform is willing to do that. Not publicly, not on camera. So the standoff continues. Eventually, a manager from the nearby business is summoned. She steps out, uncertain, caught between roles. She's not a cop. She has no stake in what just happened. But she becomes the solution, the exit ramp that allows the officers to shift the frame. Now it's about trespassing. Now it's about private property. Now the man can be removed, not because he did something wrong, but because someone with authority over the ground asked him to leave. And just like that, the narrative pivots. The original claim, the one about a gun, the one that brought backup screaming in, the one that could have ended in tragedy, is quietly buried. No retraction, no correction, just a smooth transition to a new justification. This is how consequences are avoided. If the man leaves quietly, the report will say he was trespassed. Not that he was falsely accused, not that an officer fabricated a threat, not that multiple units responded to something that didn't exist. Just a property issue, a routine removal. But it wasn't routine, and the camera knows it. The footage holds the original accusation, the words spoken, the fear manufactured, the escalation that followed. None of that disappears. It's just hidden behind the paperwork. The man walks off. He doesn't resist. He doesn't push back. He simply asks one more time for the officer's name. The answer is short, reluctant, given only because silence would look worse. And as he crosses the property line, the formation loosens. Bodies relax, hands drop. The tension that filled the space now drains away, as if nothing happened at all. But something did happen. and it's all on tape. In Part 3, we examine what comes after, when the footage goes public, when accountability is demanded, and when the system must decide whether to confront its own reflection or look away. Continue to Part 3. He's off the property now. The officers remain behind, clustered near the entrance, watching. No one follows. No one arrests. No one even raises a voice. The confrontation is over, at least physically, but the damage isn't something you walk away from. It travels with you. The man turns once, camera still rolling. His voice cracks slightly, not from anger, but from the weight of what just happened. He didn't break the law. He didn't threaten anyone. He stood on public ground and watched. And for that, he was accused of carrying a weapon, surrounded by armed officers and treated like a suspect in a crime that didn't exist. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a mechanism. And it works because most people never see it. The encounter ends, the subject leaves, the paperwork is filed. And unless someone pushes, unless someone demands accountability, the record simply closes. But this time, there's footage. And footage changes everything. When video surfaces, the narrative can no longer be controlled by the uniform. What was once a verbal exchange, easy to reframe, easy to deny, becomes fixed in time. The words are preserved, the body language is visible. The accusation, false as it was, can be heard clearly, played back, studied, shared. That's the shift this kind of documentation creates. It doesn't guarantee justice, but it does guarantee visibility. And in a system built on discretion, visibility is the first crack in the wall. Watch how the officers behave as the man exits. There's no acknowledgement that anything went wrong. No quiet correction between colleagues. No whispered admission that the gun claim was fabricated. Instead, there's coordination. A collective exhale that signals the situation has been handled. But handled doesn't mean resolved. The officer who made the original accusation never retracts it. He doesn't admit the radio was mistaken for a weapon. He doesn't explain why he approached aggressively rather than cautiously. He simply moves on. And so does everyone else. That's the culture at work. Not one of explicit corruption, but of silent alignment. No one challenges the first officer. No one asks why backup was called for a journalist standing still with a camera. No one suggests that the escalation was unnecessary. They all absorb the moment and let it pass. This is how patterns repeat. Not through dramatic acts of misconduct, but through small refusals to question. One officer invents a threat. Another responds without verification. A third manages the scene without correcting the record. And by the time it's over, the original lie has been laundered through procedure. The man knows this. You can hear it in his voice as he walks away. He's not celebrating, he's processing. He stood his ground, he didn't get hurt, but he also didn't get justice. And the gap between those two things is where most of these stories live. Later, when the footage is posted, the reaction is predictable. Some viewers see a journalist defending his rights. Others see a troublemaker provoking police. The comments split along familiar lines. Belief systems filtering the same images into opposite conclusions. But the footage doesn't lie. It shows a man doing nothing wrong. It shows an officer claiming otherwise. It shows backup arriving for a threat that didn't exist, and it shows no one, at any point, pausing to ask whether the original claim was true. That's what stays. Not the anger, not the politics, just the simple visual truth of what happened. A man with a camera, an accusation with no basis, a swarm of officers, and a quiet exit that left everything unresolved. In a better system, this would trigger review. Someone would examine the call. Someone would question why gun was spoken when no gun was present. Someone would ask whether training failed, or whether something deeper, bias, ego, retaliation was at work. But most of the time, that doesn't happen. Most of the time, the file closes. The officer returns to patrol. The journalist moves on to the next story. And the sidewalk returns to silence, holding nothing but concrete and wind. That's the quiet violence of moments like this. Not bullets, but erasure. The slow, steady burial of accountability under layers of procedure, justification, and collective silence. What the camera captured wasn't just an encounter. It was a system functioning exactly as designed, protecting itself, insulating its actors, and letting the truth walk away alone. And unless someone watches, unless someone listens, unless someone decides the footage matters more than the file, it will happen again. Somewhere else. To someone else. With no camera rolling. That's why this matters. Not because it ended in violence, but because it so easily could have, and nothing in the system, nothing at all, was built to stop it.